All right, it's the 14th of July. We've got about 25 minutes to the NY Open. Let's go to the charts. Yeah, just give me a second. Okay, let's take a look at the news calendar. So this week, it's going to be a busy week. We've got CPI, PPI retail sales, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, 3 consecutive days. Um, Even though it's the third week, usually this CPI is on the second week, but I think because it was on the fourth, because the 4th of July, NFP was pushed to Thursday. I think CPI was probably for that reason. I'm not sure. I don't know why, but it was pushed to the third week of the month, right? Usually CPI is on the second week, and then you get retail sales sometimes on the you get CPI and PPI on the second week, and then you get retail sales on the third week sometimes. But sometimes they're all in 1 week like this. So we should have a busy week. Yeah. But today today there is no news. No news today. No news on Friday. But there should be decent volume this week. Okay. Let's take a look at how the weekly candle closed. Now we anticipated the close of the weekly candle. I said it was either going to close strong bullish, or it was going to close a doji, right? And we closed strong bullish, right? So if you go watch the first 5 minutes of last Friday's stream, everything was explained very clearly. And if it's going to close strong bullish, how the daily candle would close, or if it's going to close a doji, how the daily candle would close, and what trade to expect in each of those situations, right? And that's exactly what played out. There, I took a buy trade on Friday. I gave out the setup on Friday. You can go watch the first 5 minutes of the stream to understand the weekly candle prediction, or you can go watch the last 10 minutes of the stream to see the setup that I gave out. The last 10 minutes or the last 6-7 minutes of the stream. So the weekly candle has closed strong bullish. We're pushing up. We've closed above 3,350. We should be heading to 3,400 and to the top of this weekly candle here. There is no top wick here or hardly any wick. So price should be heading up there to 3,400. We still have I would say almost about a 300 pip move up, right? Price should be pushing up. Now, are we going to pull back first before we push up, or are we going to head straight up? Keep in mind tomorrow is CPI, so today we might range a bit because tomorrow is a big news event. Let's take a look at the daily. Price is coming back into this red zone that we had marked about 3-4 weeks ago. We had marked these two levels here. Price is coming to this decision level. Why have I marked this as a decision level? Because this supply, this base drop, the base has 5 candles in it, has taken out this daily demand drop base rally, right? So that is why it's a decision level. Price could react from anywhere inside this and continue to push down again, right? We could come down to 3,350 or even 3,332 before we start to push up again, right? So you could get a reaction here and a decent trade during a session. All right, let's go to our trading chart. So before we draw our zones for today, we'll do a quick recap of what happened on Friday, of the setup that I gave and the setup that I took and the setup that played out, right? They all are the same. If you follow me on my socials, on X or IG, I've started posting the setup soon after I take the trade so that you can see what I exactly said in the stream is the trade that I also take. Price created a new demand here. This was after this candle closed, but before this candle close, price tapped 3,350, which is a liquidity level. And if you've been on the streams, then you know the liquidity levels. So the psychological round numbers or big round numbers is a liquidity level, and price tapped that 3,350, and the next candle, 30-minute candle, formed support, broke the high and closed above it, above 3,350. So I drew my fib. I think I'd drawn the fib just before the stream ended. I ended the stream probably on this candle. It was a Friday, so I didn't run the stream for 2 hours. It was about an hour and a half, I think. I ended it on this, and I said wait for the pullback to take the trade up, and price did come, and I entered there at the optimal entry 3,350.5, I think, roughly about 3,350.5. Stop loss under that, about 60 pip stop loss, and I got out here because it was a Friday. I didn't want to hold all the way deep into the liquidity candle, so I got out here. On Fridays I don't hold a runner, right? As a session trader, I don't hold a runner on a Friday. So that was a 2 RR trade. I'd given out the setup exactly on Friday, and it played out exactly the way uh, we had intended it. We had expected it to play out. Okay, so let's get rid of all of these and start this process again. Okay. Yeah, we're kind of ranging right now at this level. Anyway. All right. Just a second. Yeah. Hmm. Okay. Okay. Let's start with demand. There is a rally, base in candles, and a rally, right? And this candle is broken above this candle high, so that's a clear base. There was a gap when price opened today, not much, about 75 pips, but there was a small gap, and so that's a base. Price broke this high, so that's the leg out. We have a leg in, a base, 4 candles base, and a leg out, right? So let's start there. Okay, let's take a look at that on the 1 hour time frame. Let's keep it like that on the 4 hour time frame. 309, and this low is 924. 309, 924. All right, let's take a look here. There was a zone that was formed because price crossed a psychological round number, so we need to look at the lower time frame, and there is a 1 hour zone there. That's not 30-minute demand, this is H1 demand. I'm going to extend that to the right. Price hasn't come there yet. That's a 4 hour zone. Okay, and we'll extend this as well to the right, just to cover a decent area. So that's about, yeah, we've got about 370 pips. That's good enough for today. I don't expect any big moves today because tomorrow is CPI and today is the first day of the week. Right, good enough. These are previous zones that were drawn last week. You can watch, if you watch the first 20 minutes, 25 minutes of any of my streams, that's when you'll see me draw all of these zones, supply demand zones, identifying high liquidity zones and identifying the high liquidity candle inside that supply demand zone, right? So if you watch any of the streams, pick any stream and watch the first 20 minutes, 25 minutes, and that's what you'll see me do every day. Let's look left for supply. Price is in supply right now. Price has crossed this supply. We've closed above it. We can get rid of this. We can get rid of that. We can get rid of that. And let's take a look at this liquidity candle here. Price is in a liquidity candle. Let's take a look at it. Just save this. Yeah, there's a candle there. This one right here on the 30-minute. 122. Yeah, we're going to bring this up to the 15-minute time frame. Right there. 879. Let's take a look at the 5-minute as well. Yeah, we're good on the 15. 15 is good, perfect. And then there is this one here. Look at this tap on Friday and tell me that these liquidity candles are not important. Look at this tap. This high 878, the liquidity candle starts at 879. Perfect tap. Tapped it, dropped straight down to 3,350. Almost 200 pips. Okay. That's a rally, basin candles, 6 basin candles and a drop. I've extended it to the right, but price is right now reacting to this liquidity candle, the 15-minute liquidity candle that we just identified. We had identified it last week, but I just readjusted it to the 50-minute time frame because price has come deep into it right now, right? It doesn't make sense having it on the 30-minute anymore. Let's just take a look at that area once more. What's this low? This low is 75.21. 75.21. We're there. 75.21. We are there. Yeah, that's good enough. Very likely we could go through all of this today or even tomorrow, because these liquidity candles, I've said this, whenever they're stacked one on top of the other, there is one here, another one here, and another one here. Price, when they're stacked one above the other, price has tapped them on the way down. You can see price has tapped it here on the way down. Price has tapped this one on the way down. Price has tapped this one on the way down, right? So price will very likely go through them, because what it means is the liquidity there is probably consumed, right? So when we have a high volume news event, very likely to go through them, right? Okay, right. So price is reacting to this liquidity candle, trying to push down. We have a new demand zone here, and the rest are all previous old zones, right? So let's see if this new zone is a high liquidity zone, right? Has it taken out any supply to the left? There is supply here, there's a rally, a base, and a drop. Prices pushed up, taken out that high, so this is a high liquidity zone, right? Okay. Now, next thing is, let's see if we have a high liquidity candle in here and in here. I don't think there's one in here, but there should be one in here. Let's start with the 1 hour time frame. We're looking for the largest bullish candle. That's 135 pips. That's 130. Let's start here. Let's go to the 30-minute time frame. 85, 96. Let's go to the 15-minute. 70, 70. Just give me a second. I'll be back in a couple of minutes. Sorry about that. Yeah, on 15 minutes is good. 5-minute, let's take a look at the 5-minute very quickly. Now, 15-minute. That's the one. That's the candle. That is why prices tapped here. Yeah, on Friday, and then Asian session today, and then also the London session. We tapped the liquidity candle. Makes sense. 459764. 459764. Okay. All right. Here's where we are at right now. Okay. Now, got about 3 minutes to the NY Open. Let's take a look at what price has done in the Asian and London sessions. Okay. Start with the 15-minute time frame. That's the market open. We had a gap. Price closed here. Market opened here. 75 pip gap. Market opened at around 3363. Right? Yeah, that's the Asian high. Yeah. London low, Asian low is the same. It's exact same price. Okay. Yeah. Perfect. So this is the high. 692. 7046. Sorry. 380. We're dropping. We rejected the London high. We're trying to drop. Create a 30-minute resistance. Pre-NY. We're trying to drop all the way down here. Anyway, waiting. 395. This high is 491. Okay, let's take a closer look at what price has done. On Friday, we were bullish in the NY session. There's a trade that I took from here. I explained that trade. Then we were bearish, and then we had no volume after that. So we were bullish and bearish. We were bullish, pushed up, we came to 3367, formed 30-minute resistance, and dropped back to 3350, where I had entered the trade, right? So it was first bullish, then bearish. And then we ranged. It's no volume. But we had created a liquidity candle on the way up in the NY session, right? So price came down, had dropped into the liquidity candle just before the market closed. The market opened, grabbing that liquidity, gapped up, and went straight to 3367. Tapped it, closed above it, went to the liquidity candle, went deeper, into the liquidity candle, formed the Asian high and 30-minute resistance, right? Asian high, 30-minute resistance form, dropped back to 3367. Not a lot of volume there. In the Asian session, we moved about 200 pips, and in the London session also 200 pips, 200, 200, right? So price dropped back to 3367, then pushed back to the liquidity candle, formed 30-minute resistance again. That's a good Asian session trade to take. When it formed it again, when it rejected the Asian high and formed 30-minute resistance again, that's a perfect trade to take to come down back to the liquidity candle. 150 pip move down. We closed below, this candle closed below 3367. The next one, tap 3367, drop back straight to the EMAs and to the liquidity candle. Formed the Asian low, 30-minute support. No, 30-minute support formed here. Sorry, not here. 30-minute support formed here. After it tapped the liquidity candle, formed here. And then we created We came back into the liquidity candle, formed the London low. So the Asian low and the London low at the same price. Formed 30-minute support again in the London session and pushed back up to the liquidity candle. That's a great trade to take in the London session as well. Clean push up back to the liquidity candle. Yeah, 125 pip move up, right? And then price closed above the Asian high, immediately closed back below, right? Formed 30-minute resistance and the London high. Right? It's closed above the Asian high, closed immediately back below the Asian high and formed the London high. Came straight down to 3367, ranged a bit, pushed back to the London high, rejected the London high and the Asian high. Again, they're at the same level, just like this. They're very close to each other, form 30-minute resistance again, right here. Now this is pre-NY and pushing back down. And price has closed below 3367 and come and tapped the EMA here, right? Now, this is pre-NY. This is a strong bearish candle down. 27 minutes for the next 30-minute candle to close. Let's see here, 1 second. Yeah, I'd be interested in sells. I'd be interested in taking sells for price to come down. We've rejected the London high in pre-NY. We formed 30-minute resistance. I'd be interested in taking sells here. There. Around here. Oh, we got the weekly. We got this weekly SR level right here. I don't know. Deeper? No. If you take sells here, stop loss will have to be above this, about 60 pips above the swing high, at least 60 pips. I anticipate price to push down 130 pips to the London low. You can. 309, low 403, 309. Yeah. Yeah, if I take sells here around 3360, I'm really not comfortable with it because the weekly SR level is right here. But if you get a pullback here, you could take a low risk trade. Stops above that about 60 pips. Anticipating price to come back down to the London low, about 140 pips. And if there is volume continued to 3350. Is that a possibility? Let's see. We're creating. We've broken below this. Yeah, we have. Higher highs, higher lows, higher highs, higher lows, lower highs, lower lows. Yeah. Yeah. Deeper the better. Deeper the better. Then the risk will have a tighter risk. Deeper price comes, the better. But it could react off 3367. It could react off 3367. I would move this down, this demand level here, to this close 981. Yeah, that's better. Yeah, I would want to pull back. I'm not going to chase price here from this point onwards, even though price can come down. I want more of a pullback, at least here to this area. Although we are reacting to 3366. 3366.50. Yeah, we could drop now. Prices come there already. It doesn't need to come to 3367. If it came here, I would have taken a sell. Yeah. It needs to come more deeper for me. If I don't get a sell here, that's fine. I'm absolutely okay with that. I'm not chasing price here. This, if I took this trade on the pullback near 3367 or 3366.5, the stop loss is too much for me. 65 or 80 pip with the swing high, it's too much. 50 pips is good, is okay. 50, 60 pips is probably the max I would go to for this trade. You're going to have decent RR, but we should be dropping down. If you're a breakout trader, you can take this trade, no problem. I'm a pullback trader, so I need price to come further up for me to take a sell to come down. But if you're a breakout trader and you're taking the breakout here, that's fine. You just need to have the stop loss at a decent level, probably above 3373 is a good place to have a stop loss, above that swing high, 50-minute swing high. 30-minute swing high would be better. Above this high would be better. For price to drop here, back to the liquidity candle and even possibly below the liquidity candle. Anticipating price to push to, yeah, at least the London low, 3354. That's what you're expecting out of this trade. 3354 at least. And then if there is volume, come down to 3350. And then possibly the end of the liquidity candle. Okay, I'll be back in a couple of minutes. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna place a pending order here. We'll place a pending order here, 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 here. Yeah. 083. 948. Yeah, just place some pending orders. Anticipating price to come down here. Yeah, but I think we're dropping. I don't think we're going to come back up. Yeah, there was no pullback for me. It was a nice sell there, but no pullback. I was anticipating price to come above 3367 to get in on the trade, to come down here to 3353 or 3354, but it didn't pull back. Anyway, I'll be back in a couple of minutes. Yeah, so price is pushing down. I don't think it's going to pull back all the way up for these entries and then come down. I think we've already closed below. 30-minute candle has closed below this. I think we're coming down now. We're coming towards 3355. Should be heading to 33, should be coming to this next EMA. Once we have a 15-minute close below, yeah, we have a 15-minute close below this, we should be coming to this EMA down here. Maybe a slight pullback and then price will push down. This wasn't enough a pullback for me. I needed price to come to above 3367 and just above it to take entries to come down. But the setup is correct. It's just that not enough pullback for me to take these sells, because I always wait for a deeper pullback. I don't get, sometimes that I don't get trades because I'm not a breakout trader, but that's fine. I'm okay with that kind of trading. I don't feel the need to be in a trade all the time. Um, and by waiting for a pullback, what I realize is I get a higher reward potential. I have higher reward potential, right? If I get a trade from here, then could run. There is more space. There is a lot more profit potential and a smaller risk. And those are the kind of trades I like to take. Last week, the NY session was good. The first 2 hours or first 3 hours of the NY session was good, and I gave out setups. I did take, on some of the days, the trades were taken on the stream. Sometimes some of the trades were just outside the stream hours, maybe like 50 minutes, 30 minutes, or even 45 minutes after the stream hours. But I'd given out the setups with the entries, stop loss, take profit levels, everything, and they played out perfectly. So there were 5 consecutive wins last week because there was volume. There was decent volume, not a lot of volume, but there was decent volume last week. You can go watch those streams, and you will see the trade that was the idea that was given and the trade that was taken. You'll either see it on the stream, or if you don't want to spend too much time on the stream, you can just go watch. You can just go look up my socials on IG or X. You will find the trade that I took, right? With the explanation, the entries, the stop loss, the TP levels, everything in detail. And that's the exact explanation that I gave out during the stream as well. Yeah, we're pushing down. We've broken below the low. We're coming down. Now, yeah, price, no opportunity to take these trades. I don't think price is going to pull back up. But we'll have to wait for price to come down and see if there is going to be, price is going to form some sort of support here, and a strong bullish tradable bull candle close for price to push back up and look for the pullback to take the buy trade, right? Keep in mind, prices on the weekly we are bullish, on the daily we are bullish, and on the 4-hour also we are bullish so far because we've created a rally base, a rally that's 4-hour demand, and price is trying to test that 4-hour demand. So we could be pushing back up after the current 4-hour candle closes. So for buys, you might have to wait for the 4-hour candle, this 4-hour candle to close, which is in an hour, 40 minutes from now, and then look for the buys to go up. Could be. Could be. That could be a possibility. Any questions on the analysis, on the setup, on the trade ideas? You can always post a question in the chat. Yeah, we're coming down. There we go. It's not coming back up. This was that was the pullback. That was the pullback right there. Now, what this what this possibly shows is that there is a lot of volume because price doesn't need to pull back. It shows that there is a lot of volume in the market, right? And this and we were anticipating this because this is CPI week to have a lot of volume. So right off the bat, NY session, pre-NY, strong 30-minute back candle close below 3367. The next candle pull back a bit. It didn't even reach 3367 and straight down, coming down, right? So this shows a lot of volume, which is a good sign. Yeah, we're heading towards 3355, then possibly 3353. So we're coming to the London lows basically, the London and Asian low. They're the same price. That's where it's heading to. So if you are in these cells, if you did get in here, that's a good place to take partial positions. 3355 or 3354. Yeah, we're pushing down, coming to 3355. It's a nice move down, 90 pips. Should be coming here, almost 120. Yeah, yeah, pushing down. Should head down here. That's a lot of volume straight off the bat. NY open. There's no hardly any pull. There was a pullback, but not enough for me to take a trade. But straight down, 100 over 100 pips. There we go. Coming down now to 3355. This is a good sign. There should be volume this week. Okay, I'm going to get rid of these pending orders. Okay. Yeah, 3355, almost there. Yeah, there we go. Tap 3355. That's the minimum level. Tapped it. Nice. Almost 120 pips. Should come further down. Depends on how much volume there is. Could come to 3350 and even further down. Just no opportunity for me to take these cells, even though the setup was perfect. I'd explained the setup. 30-minute resistance form, and price rejected the London high and the Asian high from a liquidity candle. This candle broke the low. You draw the fib from this low to that high, and price didn't pull back enough for me to take the trade to come down. The setup was perfect. It's a lot of volume. Yeah, 3353, we've come there. That was the TP level I had placed before 3350. And now if you have volume, we could come further down. It's very likely, I think we do have volume. This is a lot of volume down straight off NY session open. 140 pips, price is pushed down, 140 pips with the NY open. It's a lot of volume. Unfortunately, it didn't pull back enough for me. We were creating higher lows, high highs, high lows, high highs, and then a high low and a lower high. And now price is dropping straight to 3350. Maybe we'll get a pullback and be able to take a trade, but let's see. Just unlucky. Unlucky that price didn't pull back a bit more, another 10, 15 pips more to take those entries to come down. Very unlucky. Yeah, I'm going to wait for the 30-minute candle to close here. That's 19 minutes from now. And if we form some sort of support later on, maybe we can look to take buys later on. But I think we're very bearish right now. We're going to have to wait. Yeah, we've broken. We'll have to wait for the 4-hour candle to close. Just got to wait for the 4-hour candle to close. about an hour, 19 minutes. I'll end the stream in about 10 minutes from now. It's just a Monday. Tomorrow, CPI, I'm going to be looking forward to tomorrow. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, we got CPI, PPI, retail sales. If this is the kind of volume to expect, then CPI, PPI, and retail sales are going to be good trading days. So I'm not going to force myself to take a trade today, but I'll come back to the chart probably about an hour from now when the 4 hour candle closes. Hour, 1 hour, 15 minutes, 1 hour, 20 minutes from now, and see if there is a setup. But this is the sell setup that worked really well. Price pushed straight down 150 pips plus nearly heading down to 3,350 now. There is a lot of bearish volume. So we're coming to 3,350. We'll have to see what price does. Now it's below the London low and the Asian low inside the liquidity candle. We could break this liquidity candle because the price has tapped it once, twice, 3 times, 4 times, 5 times, 6 times, 7 times. Yeah, we could break this liquidity candle. If you break this, then we're coming further down here. And then I'm going to be looking for sells on a pullback price to form resistance. If you break the liquidity candle, right? If you break the liquidity candle, what I'm going to be looking for are sells after the 4 hour candle closes. Once the 4 hour candle, if you break this liquidity candle low, I'm going to wait for the 4 hour candle to close and possibly look for sells. Price to pull back, create resistance, and price to continue to push down. All right, that's what I'm going to be looking for. Yeah, we're reacting to this. This daily zone right here. Yeah, broke above this high, tapped this, coming down. It could be coming down to create the weekly candle lower wick. Very possible. Today is a Monday. This could be price coming down to create the lower wick on the weekly candle. So price can push down to this area right here. It's possible. 33.39 or 33.40. That's a good 120 pips away. 33.40, where is that? 33.40. Yeah, we could be coming here. Mm-hmm. 98. Eighty-four, 86. Yeah, we should be coming here. So this candle right here. Yeah, this one. 394,288. And this candle is a part of the zone here. If you go through this, we're coming down here. Yeah, another 70, another 80 pips, 75, 80 pips, 80 pips, another 80 pips. Should drop another 80 pips down here. 44. Yeah, 44. If we close below 3,350, or if you break this low, we should come here. I think if you close below 30, if the 30-minute candle closes below 3,350, or even a 15-minute candle closes below 3,350, we should come down here. Another 50, 60 pips to 33.44. It's a nice trade here. It's a lot of volume, 160. Anticipated and played out exactly as anticipated, just not enough pullback, not enough of a pullback for me to take the entry. I was anticipating price to come at least to 3367 to get a trade, but it didn't, fell short. In fact, I was hoping it would come to 336850, around that area above 3367. Take entries, have about a 60 pip stop loss, 50, 60 pip stop loss, and I look for about 150 pip move down, 3 RR trade, but didn't pull back enough for me. Okay, I'm going to be here for another 10 minutes maybe. Any questions? You can always post any questions on the analysis, on the setup. I'll come back in about 5 minutes and then we will end the stream. I'll also, maybe there will be a trade for later on today, but I would say not to take any trades, just wait for CPI tomorrow. But there might be a trade today for later on. You've got to wait for the 4-hour candle to close though. You have to wait for the 4-hour candle to close. Candle is going to close in an hour, 10 minutes almost, 1 hour, 10 minutes. Just wait for the candle to close. We're closing, should close bearish. Let's see. There might be a pullback and a continuation down. Pullback and continuation down, right? But wait for the candle to close. So for a pullback continuation down, what you're looking for is price to pull back, create resistance, and then trade to come and retest the low and continue further down, right? And where further down? These are the levels. 3344, that should be heading there next. And then if you get through that, we could come down even here. Yeah, this is next. 3336. That's next. Yeah, 3366, 3336, 3336. Yeah, we're coming down. 3344 should be easy, and then if there's a lot of volume, 3336. Say, look at this, where this one. Yeah, very possible. 3344 and 3336. Very, very possible. And the next would be here, if there is a lot of volume. That's where price should be heading to. We've come to 3353 already, 3344, 3336, and then 3331 if there is volume, right? Yeah, it could have a. We've just done 250 pips today. Could have easily a 350 pip candle today. That's the average daily range, around 330, 340 pips. So 3336, 3331 is very possible. Very possible. We're pushing down. All right, I'll be back in a couple of minutes, and then we'll end the stream. Yeah, that's the initial push down NY session. Almost 175 pips. Nice. It's good to see volume NY open. We've not had that for a while. Last week we had it. It's good. It's great to see volume come back with the NY open. We've not had that except for last week. Um, we didn't have that for I think about 6 weeks, 1.5 months. No volume with the NY open. But last week we had volume with the NY open, and seems like that trend is continuing right now. We're having volume. I think I think we're headed further down. This is just a pullback because that's an important level, 3350, and price is trying to decide whether it should close below the London low and the Asian low, and then maybe a pullback and then continue further down. But it'll take time. It'll take time, and I'll come back to the charts in about an hour with the 4-hour candle close. 4-hour candle has about an hour, 4 minutes for the 4-hour candle to close. Wait for the 4-hour candle to close, then possibly come see where the 4-hour candle closes. If it's very bearish, if you break this, great. If you break this previous 4-hour candle low, let's take a look at the 1-hour time. Yeah, if you break this low, would be great. This low right here, and then pull back. Then we're breaking structure, because this is the low that pushed price up to the liquidity candle. If you break this low, that's a significant low. If you break that low, I would be more comfortable in taking the pullback and sells to come down. If you break this low right here, below 3350, this low right here, right? Okay, So as I said, I'm not going to do anything right now. The move has already happened. The NY open move has already happened. Price dropped almost to 175 pips. I'm waiting for the 4-hour candle to close. And depending on where the 4-hour candle closes, which is about an hour, 3 minutes from now, if we close strong bearish, then if we close strong bearish like this, close like this in the next hour, price stays around this area, just above 3350, below the Asian low and the London low, or below 3350, then we closes below 3350 or just above it, right? Then I'm going to wait for a pullback, wait for resistance to form, right? Ideally 30-minute resistance because it's a Monday and price is at the EMAs. Wait for 30-minute resistance to form and then look for the trade to come down, to continue further down, right? But if we push down somewhere here and start to form 30-minute support, right, later on, not now, later on, so maybe around uh, after 10:30 a.m. EST, right, or after 11 a.m. EST, if price pushes down after it's 9 a.m. EST now, so about 2 hours from now, if price pushes down and starts to form 30-minute support and a tradable 30-minute bull candle closes, then I'll look to take the buys to go back up. But that is at least about 2 hours from now, right? Not right now. Now there's nothing to do. Just wait for the next hour, wait for the candle to close, 4-hour candle to close. At least that's for me. I'm not looking to take any buys or sells right now. I'm just going to wait for the 4-hour candle to close and then come back to the chart in an hour and see where we are at. If there is a trade, there's very likely going to be a trade today. Not very likely, sorry, let me rephrase that. There's likely going to be a trade today. The reason I'm not saying very likely is because tomorrow is CPI. So price could just pull back to a level, push down to a level, and or push down to a level and range, or pull back and then range and not continue down. Could range, right? So basically price could range the second half of the NY session because CPI tomorrow, right? So you got to keep that in mind. If there was no CPI tomorrow, very likely there would be a trade later on after the 4-hour candle close. There still could be one, but because of CPI tomorrow, there may not be one, right? But I've given out the setup. Wait for the 4-hour candle to close. If it closes bearish around at the London low or Asian low or below it or just above it or below 3350 or just above it, wait for the pullback, wait for 30-minute resistance and to take the sells to come down, right? That is the sell setup. For buys, after 11 a.m. EST, after 10:30 or 11 a.m. EST, not before. If price comes down to these areas here or even here, possibly here, count down to this liquidity candle, wait for 30-minute support to form and a tradable 30-minute bull candle to close, for price to push up, to take the buys to go back up, right? Those are the two trade ideas. We're going to come back tomorrow and we will do the recap and see which of those two trades played out and if I did take a trade. And if I do take a trade, I will post it on my socials on X and IG. I will post the setup with the exact explanation that I gave out right now. The stop loss, TP levels, entries, everything. I'll give out everything there, right? So if price pushes down, if it pulls back up and forms 30-minute resistance to push down, you know where stop loss goes. Stop loss goes above the 30-minute, above the high that created 30-minute resistance, right? Above the high that created 30-minute resistance. If price comes down to this liquidity candle or further down and forms 30-minute support and a tradable 30-minute bull candle closes to go up, your safer stop loss is always below the liquidity candle low, below this candle low here. If it's this liquidity candle, or below, if it's in this liquidity candle, it's below this low right here, right? And this liquidity candle here is this one right here, so it's below that low if it reacts to this liquidity candle. There we go, we're coming up. We closed at 3350 just as expected, closed at it, so we broke the low. We're coming down to 3344, right? All right, so I'll be back tomorrow 7:30 a.m. EST. Tomorrow is CPI. So we're going to wait for CPI. We're not going to take any trades before CPI. CPI is at 8:30 a.m. EST. So we'll have an entire hour for analysis and prep work, and then we'll look to see if we have an opportunity for CPI or just after CPI. All right. Take care. Don't overtrade. Don't over risk. It's just a Monday, right? We got the entire week ahead. All right. See you guys tomorrow.